the right order. You definitely can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But the way I do it is find the change in y and then the change in x and just divide them. So I'm thinking if you missed this on the quiz, it's because you did it backwards, maybe. But how do we get from -6 to -16?
10.
What with 10? Are we adding 10, subtracting 10? What are we doing?
Adding 10.
Subtracting 10. So that's my change in y. And then what's my change in x? How are the x changing?
2.
What with 2? Are we adding 2, subtracting 2? What are we doing?
Subtracting 2.
Are y'all with me besides me and Shania?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure because she's the only one answering. What's -10 divided by -2?
5.
5.
Yeah, so you should have put in 5. How many of you got number 1 right?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good. You have 2 of these on the test tomorrow. Please don't miss these. I don't know the right word because the people who did bad on the quiz, they don't come to Zooms and they don't ask me for help and stuff like that. So, I mean, that wasn't surprising. But I did have some of you that normally are in Zooms and stuff miss these on the quiz. So I'm thinking we just made careless boo-boos. So same thing. What is the slope? How do you find slope from points? We're going to do y over x. So how do the y's change? How do I get from -5 to -5?
0.
Yeah, you don't do anything. You add 0 or you take away 0. So that's 0. How do you get from -2 to 18?
20.
What with 20?
You add 20.
Good. Who is this? Denia?
No.
Who is this?
Marissa.
That was somebody else that time.
Oh.
All right, so we're adding 20. What's 0 divided by 20?
0.
0. So you should have put in 0. Now let's just review in case you see one like this tomorrow. What if it was 20 over 0? What would you put?
Undefined.
Very good. Remember, if 0 is under the line, it's undefined. But if it's on top, 0 divided by 20 is just 0. So this one should have been 0. How many of you got number 2 right?
Me.
Oh, good. That's what we like to hear. Do we have questions on these 2?
Nope.
You can use your notes tomorrow. Remember that you can use your notes, but also just remember if you've given 2 points, just do y over x. Find how they change, okay? All right. So Glenn is draining his pool. The table shows the volume of water after X minutes of being drained. I don't know why this says Cameron. It should say Glenn. I did not make this review. One of the other Math 1 teachers did, but this should say Glenn. So what is the rate at which Glenn drains the pool? How do you find the rate of change from a table?
You can subtract.
Okay, good. So how do we get from 1,500 to 1,360? Subtract what? Subtract what?
140.
Good, minus 140. And then how do we get from 80 to 160?
You add 80.
Add 80, very good. So my rate of change is -140, because remember, it's supposed to be the y on top, over 80. You can type it in just like that, okay? Does anybody know what else we could do to this though? Besides dividing, because I don't want you to divide, it's gonna be a decimal. What could we do with this fraction?
Simplify.
Good. What number goes into both of those, Paul?
10.
Good. They both can be divided by 10, right? Because these zeros will cancel. So then you would have -14 over 8. And then that'll actually reduce farther. What number goes into 14 and 8?
2.
Good. So you could divide both by 2. So this would be -7 over 4. If it says simplify, you need to simplify. If it doesn't say simplify, you can type it in just like this. And does this one say simplify?
No.
No, so you could leave this one if you wanted. You could type in either one of these. All right, let me move y'all over here. So then it says, based on the rate, how much water was in the pool initially? So this is like the one we talked about before we took our quiz, if you were up here for the quiz review. When I say the word initially, what does that mean?
In the beginning.
Yeah, at the very beginning. So if it's at the very beginning, does time start at 80?
No, it starts with 0.
Good. So we need to find out how much water was in there when the time was 0. So I need you to find out how much water was in there before he started draining it, before he pulled the drain up and started letting the water out. So how can we find that? How can I get back up here to find what goes with 0?
You add 140.
140.
Good. Work backwards. So instead of subtracting 140, they're saying we can add it. Good. So y'all, what's 1,500 plus 140?
1,640.
Very good. 1,640. Questions on those two? Y'all are good?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to erase. If you have a question about how I say something, y'all, please, please, please ask me. It can even just be like, Miss Poole, I didn't understand that. Can you say it a different way? Yes, I can. I will do my best.
Like, what you would just do? I was in the bathroom, like right there for the second part.
Stay after. I'll show you how to do it after. Okay? You waited till I moved on. I'll show you after. All right. A moving company charges a flat rate of $200 to rent a truck. They also charge $2 per hour of rental. So listen, if the company decides to lower the flat rate, the slope will do what? So this is what I'm going to ask y'all. I'm going to draw a picture real quick. So this scenario right here, my flat rate is 200. That means 200 is my base. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so then look, if they charge $2 per hour, that means each hour this is going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, right? So this right here, the $2 per hour, that is my slope. So what these are asking you is if we change the flat rate or if we change the charge per hour, meaning the slope, or if we lower both, if we raise both, what happens to the line, okay? So this first one says if the company decides to lower the flat rate. Well, let's think about it. If we move the 200, I'm not even worried about the 15%, so don't look at that. If we just lower the 200, so Jordan, pick a number smaller than 200.
150.
Okay, if we go down to 150, so if I lower the flat rate to 150, did I change the slope?
No.
No, it's still up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, right? Because we didn't mess with the charge. Does everybody see that?
Mhm.
So for this first one, if you lower the flat rate, that doesn't do anything to the slope. That's changing the y-intercept. So which of these would I pick? Hello, children. Good. Y'all have to answer my questions in a test review. I'm not going to sit here and give you all the answers. If we lower the flat rate, then that means we're moving the base, but have we changed the charge per hour? No, so it's going to stay the same. All right, let's look at the next part. If the company decides to lower the charge per hour, okay, let's look at this. If I lower my charge, I meant to draw. Let's try this again. If I lower this number, so somebody pick a number smaller than 2.
1.
Sure. If I lower that charge, that means now I'm going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Look at this line. Am I changing the slope now?
No.
Uh-huh. What was the slope originally?
200.
No, slope, not the base.
My bad.
2. The slope was 2. If we lower the charge, we're lowering the slope. So what happens to a line when the slope gets lower? Which of these?
Goes deeper.
Okay, be careful. What does the word steeper mean? If you're climbing a mountain and the mountain's really steep, does it look like this or does it look like this?
Falls.
It's
Become vertical.
It's this. So if we're lowering the slope, we're making it less steep. Marissa, does that help? Because I know you said you wanted to see this one.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. So let's keep going. If the company decides to lower the flat rate and the charge, let's see what happens. So look, this is my original line. It started at 200 and we were going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So it's pretty steep. If I lower the base, does that change the slope?
If you lower,
No.
Yeah, if we lower the $200, the original charge, that has nothing to do with the slope because the slope is the charge per hour. So lowering the flat rate doesn't matter, but it also says we're going to lower the charge. So if I lower that slope also, again, it's going to become less steep or more steep if we lower it. That was a question.
it becomes more steep.
If we lower it, if we lower the slope, does it
Less
become more
steep.
steep or less steep?
Less steep.
Less steep. I'm worried because
I
some
don't
of
get it.
y'all aren't answering. Huh? Did somebody just say something?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
What part do you not understand?
Like 15%, I don't get percentage. Like
The
what is that?
percentage doesn't even matter. So if you type in, I can show you. I'll do my best because for some reason my projector is not working. If you type in 15% of $2, let me just show you. That means you type in 0.15 times 2. Get it where you can see it, maybe. Of course, it's daggone blurry. Let's see. I don't think you're going to be able to see it.
Mm-mm.
So it's 0.3. If you do 15% of 2, it gives you 0.3 in the calculator. Okay, so is 0.3 bigger than 2 or smaller than 2?
Smaller.
Smaller, so we're lowering it.
Oh, okay.
That's why it says lower. The percentage doesn't even matter. If it asked you to actually calculate it, then you would need to know the percentage, but I'm not asking you to calculate it. I just want you to tell me how the slope changes.
Mm.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm going to erase this part right here so we can see what's next. If the company raises the flat rate, so let's go back and look at our original graph. I'm going to use another different color. If we raise the flat rate, remember the flat rate was 200, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody give me a number bigger than 200.
250.
Okay, if we raise it up to 250, that moves my base. Does it say anything about changing the charge per hour?
No.
So are we changing the slope?
No.
Nope. So the slope will stay the same.
Mm.
People who just joined, I hope you turned in your test review because if you're sitting in here, I won't take your test review after because I'm going over it, okay? All right, if the company decides to raise the charge per hour, so let's remember charge per hour, that is my what?
Slope.
Good. So if we raise the slope, is it going to become steeper or flatter? I raise it.
Steep.
Somebody was about to say it.
Steeper.
Steep. I heard this. Somebody said, I'm a snake. Become steeper?
Yeah.
if we raise the charge per hour. So really all this is asking about, y'all, is the slope. So you had to read the question. The flat rate is the base. That's not the slope. So we don't even care if they change the flat rate. Who cares? We're looking for if they change the charge per hour, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So on the last one, y'all tell me, what would this be? If we raise the flat rate, who cares? And the charge per hour, what's the slope gonna do?
Becomes steeper.
Becomes steeper. Are y'all okay with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Marissa, that helps?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. All right, so there's number 4. Let's keep trucking. I am going to cry tomorrow. I'm not kidding. Let's see, who's gonna be here tomorrow? Jordan, you gonna be here. Jordan is gonna record me if I cry tomorrow in class, and he'll post it for y'all, I'm sure. Right, Jordan? Because do you know how many of y'all missed this on the quiz?
Like 5.
Oh my
How
God,
many?
no, half of your class missed these on the quiz. Half. We learned how to do this in 7th grade. And I retaught you. We did 2 days of graphing. So there's no excuse for missing these. Do not miss this tomorrow. What is the base of the equation?
1.
1, and I need everybody to watch this because so many of you did this. Somebody tell me what's wrong with this, because this is not right. What is wrong with this?
X-axis.
Y-axis.
Yeah, you're not on the Y. Look right here, babies. You on the X. What does this say? What equals?
Y.
So you're supposed to go on my Lanta. Not there. Please don't go here. That's what some of y'all doing. You're supposed to go to 1 on the Y. This is where you start. If you put it on the X, I cannot give you any points. I won't give you any points because that's completely wrong. It starts on the Y because it says Y equals. Now, what's my slope?
-6 over 5.
Good. Can you say it just like you just said it? -6 over.
5.
Both of these are not negative. Do you know how many of y'all went down and left, down and left? What happens if they're both negative?
It's positive.
Yeah, and this doesn't say positive. That says negative. So why y'all going down and to the left? Because if you go down and left, your line is going to end up looking like this. And don't draw this. If you go down and left, that's what that line's going to end up looking like when you connect it. And which way is that line pointing?
Positive. To the
Oh.
right.
Up and to the right, which means it is positive. This is wrong. If the slope is negative, you can go down into the right or up into the
Left.
left. Good. Which one do y'all want me to do?
Down to the right.
Yeah, so I did it like Shania said. I went down 6 and then right 5. So look, if I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I also had a lot of you on the quiz. Brooke ain't here to make fun of me. Let's see. Dang that, Ashley, you'll have to tell her how good that was. That's pretty good. A lot of y'all on the quiz also went down 5 over 6. I can't give you credit for that. That's not correct. You have to go up or down first. That's the 6 because that's the rise. And then you can go left and right. We're not going to miss this, right?
No.
Please don't. At least none of y'all better miss it because y'all were up here for me to be like, do not miss this. Please, please, please don't miss it. There is one this easy tomorrow. So I'm expecting everybody to get that one correct. It looks just like the study guide. So y'all see how it's 20 questions?
Mm-hmm.
Test is 20 questions. In the same, like it looks just like this. All right, put the equation in the slope-intercept form. Y'all had some people on the homework literally type this in. What's wrong with this?
It's not hand slope in the cell.
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of them. I'm trying to get it through their brains. What are you doing? Would I put something this easy on the test? No, you didn't have to do anything. So you got to put it in slope-intercept form. Somebody tell me what slope-intercept form solves for.
Y equals.
There we go. So you should have solved this for y. So if I cover up this term just for right now, I'll undo it in a minute. What do I need to move?
4x.
So did you guys subtract the 4x?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm so glad I can make some of y'all giggle today. We need some laughter in our life. All right, so now I'm gonna uncover this because I forgot if it was positive or negative. It's positive. So now I'm gonna bring down the positive 10y equals, and then does it matter which of these you put first?
Yes.
So technically doesn't, but do you guys see how it said slope intercept form? Which one's supposed to be in the front in slope intercept form, the mx or the b?
The mx.
Good, it's y equals mx plus b. So I'm gonna put the mx in the front if that's okay with y'all. So I'm gonna put negative 4x. And then what kind of 70 is that, positive or negative?
Positive.
So I'm gonna put plus 70. Remember, if you speak up during this stuff, you get extra credit tallies. I already got y'all's names on sticky notes. Everybody that's in here. All right, now what do I do to get y by itself?
Divide by 10 by everything.
Good, divide everything by 10. And then did y'all see in the directions where it said simplify all fractions?
Mm-hmm.
We got to simplify here. So this is going to be y equals, what number goes into 4 and 10?
2.
2. So did you guys divide both of these by 2?
Yeah.
So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10
Mm-hmm.
divided by 2 is
5.
5, and it was negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then your x. And then what's 70 divided by 10?
7.
Good. So you should have typed in y equals negative 2 slash 5, then hit the over arrow, x plus 7. There's one just like this tomorrow. We okay with number, I don't even know what number, was this 6 or 5 or what was this, y'all?
6.
I lost track. Okay, 6, good. We're like a quarter of the way done. Right on. Does anybody have a question about this one before I move on?
No.
Y'all are okay? Jordan, you good? Hey, Christian. All right. Okay. So find points and graph this line following the instructions below. I already have a feeling some of y'all, hopefully not y'all, people are going to miss this tomorrow because they're not going to do what?
Oh, wow.
They're not going to solve for y, and they're not going to read the directions. So after you plot the points for this one, you can't just click submit. You have to hit done plotting points, and then it has you connect them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember this type of question off the homework?
Mm-hmm.
So before you can graph a line, Shania's right, we got solve for y. So what do you need to move if you cover this? What do I need to move?
Yeah, subtract 3y.
Not the 3y.
Negative 5.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover that and
You
add
kept
5.
circling it, confused.
Huh?
You kept circling it. I'm like,
Sorry. I'll cover it. Is that better?
Yeah.
I can cover it. So add 5x. I was trying to like show you that I was covering it, but it didn't work. All right, 3y equals, does it matter which one we put in front here?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't say slope intercept form simplified, so you could put -9 first. I don't ever do that. I always put a mx and then I put the b in the back. How do I get y by itself?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. The rest of y'all are with me writing these down, right? Because this is a great way to study, to do these with me.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because some of y'all didn't turn in your shown work with your study guide, so you're not going to get full credit. So I suggest we're writing. All right, what's 9 divided by 3?
-3.
Beautiful. Can we reduce 5 over 3?
No.
All right, so for a second time, we're going to review how we graph this, because I'm telling you right now, Jordan is going to record me tomorrow crying if people are missing this one. I'm going to be very upset. What's the base of this line?
-3.
-3 on the what? Somebody different.
Right.
She already got it out. -3 on the
y-axis.
Yes, guys, this is where you start. The vertical axis, find -3, click, put a point right there. Now, what is my slope?
Neg-
I'm gonna let somebody else do it.
What's my slope?
5/3.
5/3. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Good, positive. So that means we're going to go up and to the right, right? So I'm going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 1, 2, 3, and click a point. Now, this says plot at least 2 points. How many points do I like y'all to have?
3.
3, because it's easier to connect. So let's go up 5 and over 3 again. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 1, 2, 3. Make sure I didn't mess that up. Okay. Now I'm going to click done plotting points, and then it gives you a ruler, and you're just going to connect it. I will grade this tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about it. But do you see how when you drag it to the edge, it'll put the arrow?
Mm-hmm.
Delta Math counts it wrong until you cover the whole graph and there's arrows. So then once you do that, you can hit submit and it'll be right. Okay? All right, so we're okay with this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are almost halfway there, right on. We're doing pretty good, y'all. I'm still sad my projector's not working. I gotta get that figured out before tomorrow. Is Jordan still up here? Jordan, I keep using you because you're gonna be here with me face to face tomorrow. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Every time somebody misses this tomorrow, I'm gonna scream in class, okay?
All right.
All right, he's gonna record me. He can put me on TikTok or whatever, I don't care. Quit missing these. Quit missing them. What axis does this line touch?
X.
Why did y'all put Y on the quiz? Do we know?
Crack. Hey, crack.
They weren't paying attention, or they didn't know how to do it, or they don't come to any of the Zooms or anything, or watch the videos. It is not a Y equals line. Remember my trick I showed y'all. Y only has one leg. So if he goes walking around Greenville Mall, what's going to happen?
I'll fall over.
Eventually his leg is going to give out and he's going to fall over, okay? This goes through the x-axis, which means this line is x equals what?
-5.
There we go. The one on the test tomorrow will not be -5. Do not put -5. Because some of y'all did that on your quiz. You just wrote the answer from an old homework, and I could tell. It won't be the same numbers, okay? Does anybody have questions about this one?
Mm-mm.
I'm really gonna scream if they miss it. Shania, I'm gonna send you a recording. All right. Look at this one. It says y equals 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should go to 6 on the y. So look at my cursor. I'm doing it right now. I'll draw actually. You should go to 6 on the y, put you a point, and then it has to go through y. All the way through. It has to cut through it. So it can't be like this. A y equals line has to be, what's the word for this?
Horizontal.
Horizontal. Good. So you guys should have chosen horizontal, and then you just move it. It says drag the yellow line by the dot. So drag it down to 6. Right there. Easy or hard?
Easy.
Easy.
We'll see ones just like both of these tomorrow. Okay? Does anybody have a question? Because we're about at the halfway point.
No.
Y'all are good? Is this helping us study a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is my favorite question. Favorite question, because it tests to see how many of y'all know how to read. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Which states the rate of change, y-intercept, and x-intercept in order? So let's look at our equation. What is the rate of change?
-3.
-3. Do they all say -3?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't help us. So let's check the next one. What is the y-intercept?
7.
Okay, 7. And let me ask y'all a question about y-intercepts. If it's a y-intercept, what should the x value be?
0.
0.
There we go, children. So which answer choices don't say 0, 7?
The first one.
The first two. Good. Can't be those.
Well, you say which one doesn't have the x as 0.
Which ones don't say 0, 7?
Okay.
First two. Yep, good. All right, so we've already narrowed it down almost halfway, right?
Mhm.
Okay, the last part, this is the part that's gonna need some work. Who remembers, how do we find an x-intercept? I taught you this 2 weeks ago, so it has been a while. How can we find an x-intercept? There's 2 ways. This will be worth 2 extra credit points, whoever can give me a way.
Cover the x and solve for the y.
Opposite. Cover the,
Y and solve for x.
because we're trying to get an x-intercept. So this is the first way. Now, when I taught y'all this, some of you said this way didn't make sense in office hours, so I showed you a different way. I'll show you 2 ways. To find an x-intercept, though, we're trying to find x, right?
Mhm.
So Ashley said you can cover the y, or you can make the y 0, because if it's an x-intercept, the y should be 0, and we can solve this equation right here. And that'll give me the x-intercept. This is one that I would star if I were you guys, because this is one that y'all are gonna need to study. Okay?
Mhm.
So we wanna solve this for x. Make sure I do this. All right, what do I need to move first? I'm covering x. This is me
Subtract
covering
7.
it. What do we move?
Subtract 7.
Subtract 7, very good. This is just review from our first unit. So what's 0 minus 7?
7.
What kind of 7?
-7.
There we go. -7 equals -3x.
Mhm.
And then how do we get the x by itself?
Divide by -3 on both sides.
Good. So can we reduce -7 over -3?
No,
No, but what happens with the 2 negatives?
they cancel each other out.
They cancel to be
Positive.
good. So guys, which of the last choices, which of these has +7 over 3?
The second one.
Good, this one, right?
Mhm.
So that is the first way you could find an x-intercept. That's by solving an equation. Now, how many of you, I'm going to erase this, how many of you like graphing better than solving equations?
Me.
Me.
I was about to say, nobody else? I love graphing. It's way easier than solving an equation. Your second option, you could come over here and graph it. Okay? So my base is +7, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, and you guys have graph paper at home, I hope. 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my base. What's my slope? Look at your equation.
-3.
-3 over,
1.
good. So watch, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 1 because it's negative. So we go down to the right. You can't go down and left. We just talked about that'll make it positive. Go down 1, 2, 3 over 1.
Mhm.
Down 1, 2, 3 over 1. And then when you connect these, oh, that was pretty good. What 2 numbers does it cross in between?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. So go look at your answer choices. What is the only number between these 3 that'll be between 2 and 3? Still this one.
Mhm.
This one's negative. That would be over here. That's not it. And then 3/7, that's not even a whole. That would be over here somewhere. So it's got to be that second one right there. So you have two ways. Those of you that said you like to graph better, graph it tomorrow. Do we feel better about this one?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is one, like I said, I will tell you which ones you probably need to study. I'm hoping you don't need to study any of those first graphing ones. Some of y'all do because, whoo, yikes. All I could say was yikes. All right, let's see. We definitely need to go over 11 and 12, and then the rest shouldn't be too bad, but I have several of you missing these, so we need to look at these. Find the slope of each line and compare their values. Some of your classmates, and it might be some of y'all too, I don't remember, did not show work for this question. So I am genuinely asking, who knows off the top of their head what the slope of that equation is?
I can do it in my head, but I prefer to do it on paper.
And you're usually pretty good, and you like to do it on paper, right? Y'all, Miss Poole even writes this on paper. If my overhead was working, if this thing was working, it sucks, so I don't know why it's not. But if it was, y'all would see that I even worked this one out. And I'm a very smart lady. I've been teaching math for a long time. So if I'm showing work, what does that tell you you need to do?
Sure.
There we go. So I just want to make sure everybody's still with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deanna, Jordan, Matthew, Christian, Kamari, my other Kamari joined us. Y'all are all still with me?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. How do we find the slope of an equation? What form does it have to be in?
Why?
Y equals, and then here's my slope right here, the m. So whatever's with the x, that's going to be my slope. So we need to solve this for y equals. So I'm going to cover y. What do we need to move?
X.
How do I move a positive x?
Subtract.
Good. Some of y'all getting all the extra credit points. Good job. Subtract x, speak up so you can get your points. And then what are we left with? Negative 2y equals what? Tell me what would be on the other side.
Negative x plus 2.
Good. Do not put those together. Remember, it's mx and then the b. So negative x and then a positive 2. And then the last thing I got to do is what? How do I get this y by itself?
Divide by negative 2.
Good. Divide negative 2, divide negative 2, divide negative 2. Everything gets divided, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I don't even care about the equation of this one. I want the slope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the number with the x. Well, there's no number up here, so it's an understood what?
1.
Okay, so what is negative 1 over negative 2?
Positive 1/2.
Positive 1/2. So you should have gone down to the bottom, and for the slope of line A, you should have typed in 1 over 2. And it is positive. If you put a negative tomorrow, I got to take points off. All right, let's look at the second one. How do I find slope from a table? What do I do?
Change y over change x.
Good. There we go. She's getting some more extra credit. Changing y over changing x. What's my y doing each time?
Subtracting 1.
Subtracting 1. What's my x doing each time? Oh, y'all, what's it doing? How do you get from 0 to 2?
Adding 2.
There we go. Ooh, y'all still with me? My blonde hair rubbing off on you through the computer?
No.
We're adding 2, right? So if I do what Ashley said, y over x, that's negative 1 over positive 2. So for this one, do y'all agree we get negative 1/2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's why your signs are important. Negative 1 over 2. If you didn't put the signs or you mixed the signs up, you could do this, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But what is the right answer? Line A is what? Greater or less than?
Greater than.
Greater, because it's positive. Very good. Are y'all okay with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we're good with this one. Let me go racy. I hope we're writing this down. This would be another one that I would star. Since y'all are all up here with me, I will talk to you about it. Did you guys see in the module? I didn't put it in the announcement because I'm looking to see who's checking my module every day. Did y'all see the extra credit opportunity?
Mhm.
Yep.
If you rework 5 problems off of the Desmos assignment again and you get them right, you'll get extra credit on your test.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, oh, we better not miss this one. I'm gonna be upset. Y'all gonna have me over here freaking out. All right. It says, let me do this so y'all can see. Find the y-intercept of each line. What's the y-intercept of equation A? Can I see it? Can I see the y-intercept for this one? Uh-oh, did we forget what a y-intercept is?
No.
Okay, what's a y-intercept? That's just my what?
2.
Good. Okay, Jordan's like, oh, it's 2. Good job, Jordan, getting your extra credit. Y is 2. That's the y-intercept for A. It's 2. Are we okay with that? Everybody else, we're good?
Yes.
Okay, so look at B. This is a different one, so I'm gonna change color. We look at this red line. Where does it intersect? Because that's what intercept means. Where does it intersect my y-axis? At what number does it cross it?
-6.
-6. So then we're gonna go down to the bottom. The y-intercept of A is 2. The y-intercept of B is -6, which means A is greater than B. So this one was easier because you could look at both of these and see the y-intercept. How many of you are getting these right? Because you should be checking yours with mine. And if you're not getting them right, we're writing down the right work, right? So we can study.
Yes.
I hope so. Are y'all always this quiet?
Yes.
Paul, but you still answer me, which I love. You're not ignoring me. Jordan, I know you and Kamari aren't this quiet. Make me have to play y'all. All right. This one, I'm hoping we won't miss this one. Mackenzie is a salesperson who sells computers, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this one's extra credit tomorrow. So I'm not doing this one. Is that okay?
Mhm.
I forgot there's an extra credit one. If you want to see how to do this one, come to office hours or text me after this, okay? But I'm not going to show everybody how to do the extra credit. Let's go to this one. Boom. All right. At the end of a snowstorm, Savannah saw there was a lot of snow. The temperature increased and the snow began to melt, which makes sense, right?
Mhm.
After we get snow and the sun comes out and it gets hotter, the snow starts to go away. The depth of the snow on her lawn can be modeled by this equation. So this is what you need to know, this equation right here. So the question says the slope of the function is what? So what is the slope?
-1.5.
Good. It's the number attached to the x or the t, which is time, right? Because this is still y equals mx plus b. They just used a s for snow and a t for time. So what does the -0.5 mean? Let's look at our answer choices. Nobody blurt it out. Let everybody read. So which one of those could be for our slope?
How much of the snow melt per hour?
This one?
Yeah.
Good. Remember, slope is the rate of change. So let's read the other ones first so you don't mess up and pick these tomorrow. The number of hours until the snow has melted. We don't know the hours because if we knew the hours, would there be a t?
No.
No, there'd be a number there, right? So it's not the number of hours. The original depth of the snow, that's the initial. The initial has nothing to do with the slope, so that's not it. Then the last one says the total amount of snow. Well, that would be what it would be equal to, right?
Mhm.
So it is the rate. Are y'all okay with this one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. I heard some yeses. If you're not okay, ask me a question. I don't know if you don't get it unless you tell me. All right, here's another one. This one should be pretty good. I'm gonna let y'all read it. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. All right, what's the y-intercept?
12.
12. And then it says, what does it represent? So I'm going to click this, and you guys read them. Don't blurt it out yet. Everybody read them. And which one of these could represent the y-intercept or the base?
The second one.
Careful.
Mhm.
I thought it was the second one too.
The second one,
The
I didn't
number.
I didn't ask y'all about the slope. I asked you about the base. What is the
No,
12?
he's saying on the drop down.
This is the second one.
Yeah, is that the right answer?
No, that's the slope.
Oh,
Yes, good. Remember, your y-intercept is your base. That means the initial, the start. So if I'm talking about the weight of a baby, the weight of a baby starts when it's born. So the base, the 12, would be the weight of the baby at birth. We're not talking about the pounds that it's gaining. The pounds that it's gaining, that's the slope, which is right here. This is our starting point. So this is the weight of the newborn baby when it's born. Does that make sense?
mm.
Don't y'all pick the wrong one tomorrow. Does anybody have a question about that? Just make sure if it says y-intercept, if it says y-intercept, you're looking for the start, the base. So the start of the baby is when they are born. So that's its weight at birth. Okay?
What are you talking about?
All right, Chandra and Sam decide to start selling candy to make some money on the side. They buy the candy at Sam's Club and model their profits in the graph below. All right, so we're looking at this graph, and it says the independent variable is the candy. So do you guys remember what letter I told you is always independent? X or Y? Which one's independent?
Mm.
Good. You're right. So the independent is the candy. So the x-axis, this is my candy axis. So this is where we bought, no, this is where we sold 2 candy bars, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Y'all get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Says the dependent variable is the profit made. So somebody tell me what profit means. What am I talking about when I say profit?
The money you made.
Good, how much money we make, right? So the x-axis is candy, the y-axis is profit. So let's go look at our questions that go with that graph. What is the x-intercept? What is the y-intercept? And what is the rate of change? Okay, we can answer that. Look at your graph. Can somebody tell me what my x-intercept is?
10.
Oh, good. How'd you get 10, Paul?
The line's going through 10 on the x-axis.
Very good. It crosses x at 10. So right here, you should have typed in 10. Can somebody tell me what the y-intercept is?
Negative 20.
Good. I'm hearing more of you. That's good. It crosses the y-axis at negative 20. Okay. And then the last one, what is the rate of change? How do you find rate of change from a graph?
To find the result.
Rise over run.
Good. Find the rise over run. So remember, pick you 2 nice points. I'm just going to start here because that's a good point. And then it looks like I rise how much? Do not say 1. How much does it rise?
4.
Ooh, who said 4?
Marissa.
Good. Goes up 4, because look at your numbers over here. It goes from 0 to 4. So it goes up 4, and then how many does it go over?
2.
So 4 over 2, because it goes from 10 to 12. What's 4 over 2?
2.
2.
Good. So the rate of change is 2. Questions on this one? We're good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna erase. Maybe. Those don't want to go away. There they go. All right. We are almost done. We got 3 more after this one, y'all. Y'all are doing so good. All right, so this is the same problem, same graph, but I'm asking you different questions. Does everybody see that?
Mhm.
Okay, so which answer choice describes the meaning of the rate of change? So does anyone remember our rate of change from last question? What was our rate of change? What was my slope? Good, it was up 4 over 2, which meant it was 2, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we need to read these answer choices and figure out what answer it's going to be. So for each dollar made, 2 items of candy are sold. For each item of candy sold, the profit goes up $2. For each item of candy sold, the profit goes down. The girls make negative $20. And for each item, they make a $4 profit. Which ones can we cross out? I want to see what they taught y'all in middle school about canceling out answer choices.
Negative 20.
Okay, good. Negative 20. Why does that one not correct, Paul?
Because they're gaining money, not losing money.
Yeah, they're gaining $2, right? The slope is 2. So pretty much any answer choice that doesn't have a 2, you can mark out. So that means we can also mark out which one?
The last one.
The last one, because that says 4. We're talking about 2. That was my slope. Now, there's also one more you can mark out.
The first one.
Nah. I do agree with you. It isn't the first one, but that's not the one we can definitely mark out. That's the one we would have to go look at. Look at your graph. Is your graph going up or down?
Up.
So what does that third one say?
Goes down.
Is it going to be the third one if my graph is rising?
No.
So you should have marked that one out too. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right, now if you look at your graph, we're looking at, did we sell 2 items of candy or did we make $2? So watch. When we go up 4 over 2, I want everybody to make sure you're watching this because the one on the test isn't going to be that easy to mark everything out. I think there's 2 of them you can cross out and then you have to look at the other 3. If we go up 4, do you guys agree that this axis, this was the money, right?
Mhm.
So the money is what's going up 4. That's going up $4 over, who remembers what the x-axis was?
The candy.
The candy. So my candy bars are going up too, right?
Mhm.
But when we simplify that on top, we still have that the money goes up $2 because 4 divided by 2 is 2 in the top, right? So
Mhm.
that's why Shania was saying it can't be the first one because the first one says the candy's going up by 2. But what's really going up by 2?
The money.
The money. Marissa, I know you'll be honest with me. Did that make sense?
A little.
A little? Okay, do I need to word it differently?
I don't know.
Anybody else? Do I need to word it differently?
No.
Are we sure?
I chose the wrong one earlier. That's probably why.
Okay. Do you understand it now that I talked about it though?
Yeah. I
Okay.
feel like I forget it. I'll say it.
All right. We are almost done. And then all y'all have to do is study if you've already turned yours in. If you haven't already turned it in, it will not be for full credit. All right. What is the slope of a line perpendicular? We are missing these, aren't we?
Yes.
And y'all know it. So make sure you really pay attention on this one. So far, I've told you 3 to circle that we really need to study, right? To circle or star.
Mhm.
Here's your 4th one. Everybody should redo this one for extra credit because y'all need the practice, okay? So what is the slope of a line perpendicular? I had so many of you do the first part right on the quiz, and I was so proud of y'all. Is my Kamari up here? Oh no, he left. Not my Kamari Knight, my other one. So to find the slope, what form does this have to be in?
Y equals.
Good. Is it in y equals?
No.
So that's why I drew the wall. We have to solve for y, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cover y. What do I need to move?
The 12.
Good. Minus 12x. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So does everybody agree now we have negative 2y equals negative 12x plus 24. If you need help with solving these, I need you to pop into office hours today from 3 to 4. I can give you a couple more examples. So now how do I get y by itself?
Divide by -2.
Divide by -2. Very good. Divide by -2. Divide by -2. All right, so we have y equals, can you guys simplify for me? What's negative 12 divided by -2?
6.
6x, good. 24 divided by -2?
-12.
Minus 12. Okay, somebody tell me what's wrong with this.
We just made the slope.
It's not perpendicular.
Good. Do you know how many of you guys put 6 on the quiz and I had to count it wrong? That's not perpendicular. 6 is the slope of the line I gave you. The line I gave you has a slope of 6. So who remembers from our notes last week how we find a perpendicular line? What do we do to that slope?
You flip that.
Reciprocal.
You flip it, and then there's
Okay.
something else. Huh?
Reciprocal.
Right, that's flipping. Take the
Change the
reciprocal.
symbol.
Good, change the sign. So guys, perpendicular lines are opposites. So if this one is positive, because do y'all agree this is a positive 6?
Yeah.
The perpendicular has to be negative. Now, some of y'all put this on the quiz. That's not right either, because you didn't flip it. For them to be complete opposites, you have to flip the numbers and change the sign. Now, I did have a couple of you message me and they were like, I don't know how to flip this, okay? If there's nothing underneath the slope of 6, we've talked about this, it's over and understood
1.
1. So when I flip that, now 1 should be on top and 6 is on bottom. This was your answer. You had to flip it and change the sign. So the slope that should go here, my answer should be -1/6, -1/6. Are we okay with that? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody not understand that? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, the day I did parallel perpendicular, a lot of y'all didn't watch the notes video. Y'all realize when you get on Canvas, I can see everything you open and I can see how long you were in it for. I'll have to show y'all one day. I can see everything in Canvas. So if you don't understand this and you didn't watch my notes video, that's probably why. You may want to go do that to help you study tonight. No one has a question though. We're okay on that one. That's one I would star. People keep popping out. Don't y'all leave me, I'm not done. All right. Here's another parallel perpendicular. How can I tell if two lines are parallel or perpendicular? What do I have to look at?
The slope.
The slope and the
Y intercept.
good and the base. So are either of these in y equals?
No.
So first thing we gotta do, we gotta get both of these in y equals, right? That's the second time today I've done that. I need to get this one in y equals, and I need to get this one in y equals. So are y'all okay if I start with the first one? Because that one looks easier. How do I get the y by itself? What do I need to move?
The 3/2x.
Good, and how do you move a -3/2x?
Adding.
Good. So I'm going to add 3 over 2x over to the other side. And those will cancel because they were opposite. So for the first one, we have y equals 3 over 2x. Remember, your mx goes first. And then that's a positive 2. So I'm going to put plus 2. So there's your first equation. So I can see my slope and I can see my y-intercept. This is also another one you want to start to study tonight. There's really like 6 that y'all need to make sure you study. All right, for this one right here, I need to solve for y. So I'm using my cursor to cover the y. What do I need to move?
8x.
Good. How do we move a positive 8x?
Subtract.
Good. Killing the game. You're getting all the extra credit, girly. Minus 8x. There we go. All right, so 12y equals, and then this would be negative 8x plus 60. Remember, you don't add them. You bring them both down. mx plus b. And now how do I get y by itself?
Divide by 12.
Divide by 12. Very good. So I'm going to divide 12. Those cancel. Divide everything by 12. All right, so now we just got to simplify. So y equals, can we reduce 8 over 12?
Yes.
What's the biggest number that goes into both of those?
4.
Good. So if we divide 8 by 4, do y'all agree we get negative 2 because it was negative?
Yeah.
And if we divide 12 by 4, what do I get?
3.
Okay. And then 60 divided by 12 is?
5.
Okay. So this is the first thing you should notice. Does anybody have a question so far?
No.
No.
Okay. So this is the first thing you should notice. The bases are different. That's a good thing. That means they're not the same line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else do y'all notice?
The slope are different.
Okay. The slopes are different. So if the slopes are different, can they be parallel?
No.
We already said they're not the same line because they got different bases and different slopes. So our only 2 options are perpendicular or neither. Now, what else do y'all notice about these 2 slopes? Because I see something else.
It's flipped and the sign changed.
This one was 3 over 2. This one is flipped. It's now 2 over 3. And then this one is positive. What's this one?
Negative.
Which means they are
Perpendicular.
perpendicular. These are not hard. These last 2 I just did, all you are doing is putting them in y equals and looking at the slopes. And y'all know how to do that. I taught y'all how to solve for y back when we did literal equations, right? It was like 4 weeks ago. It's a long time. So don't miss these tomorrow, okay? Because all you're doing is solving for y and looking at the slopes. Are we good with this one?
Ms. Poole, I got a question.
Okay.
So if the bases are like the same, is this still going to be perpendicular or is it neither?
So if the base is the same and the slope is the same, it's the same line. If the base is the same but the slopes are still flipped like this, then it's perpendicular and they just cross at the base. Does that make sense? So really you should check the slope, but because the bases weren't the same, we knew that it couldn't be the same line. So really the slope is the most important thing to check, but we do check the bases also, because if the slope is the same and the base is the same, then it's going to be the same line. Very good question. All right, I have one more to do. This is probably, I would say, the hardest one on the test. I would really, really, really make sure that you ask me a question in this one if it's not making sense, because pretty much, I think I only had 7 people get this one right on the quiz. So y'all make sure y'all ask me a question, and then you'll be done. You can go do your extra credit, or I can reopen this for you and you can practice some more in Delta Math. Which equation represents a line which is perpendicular to this line? This one's actually easier than the one on the quiz. Can somebody tell me why?
Because the answer choices are already solved.
Good. The answer choices already say y equals. The one on the quiz, the answer choices didn't say y equals, and you had to go through and solve them all. I forgot that I was nicer on the test. So what do we need to do to this one up here?
Solve for y.
Solve for y. So look, I'm going to cover y. You're not touching that. What do we need to move?
6x.
So I'm going to subtract it because it's positive. Remember, you got to do the opposite to move it. Subtract 6x. I wish my overhead was working because we would have been done by now. Negative 6x minus 3. How do I get this y by itself?
Divided by -1.
Good. Remember, there's an understood 1 in front of that y if there's no coefficient. So we're going to divide everything by -1. This would be one I would study too, though. Y equals 6x, and then -3 divided by -1 is +3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so remember what you're looking for. We're looking for a line that is
Perpendicular.
perpendicular. What do we know about perpendicular lines?
You change the sign and the reciprocal.
Okay, so the first thing she said, I like that, was change the sign. If this one's positive, that means my perpendicular one has to be,
Negative.
so which answer choices aren't negative?
The second one and the third one.
The second and the third. Good, those were both positive. So not only does this need to be negative now, but instead of 6/1, what do I got to do to that?
Flip it. 1/6.
Flip it. Good. Change it to the reciprocal 1/6. So which answer choice has a slope of -1/6?